Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing this evening? Hope y'all are doing just fine. Been watching the news lately and been praying lately. And I wrote down some of the Psalms that I wanted to go over with y'all. I thought it would be a good thing to do. It's some of the Psalms that King David wrote whenever he was very stressed. So I think that it would be appropriate for us at this time. So I'm just going to read them to y'all, and we can just kind of think about them as we go. Like I said, these are all in Psalms. This one is Psalms 82:4. It says, "Deliver the poor and needy, rid them out of the hand of the wicked." That's very important, isn't it? The poor and the needy, they need all the help they can get. We do. And rid them out of the hand of the wicked. There's so many out there wishing to do people harm. So, it's very important for us to pray that our Creator would deliver us out of the hand of those who want to harm us. The next one is Psalm 7:9. O righteous El, who searches minds and hearts. So he searches our minds and our hearts. And it also says, bring an end to the violence of the wicked. Bring an end to the violence of the wicked and make the righteous secure. Make the righteous secure and end the violence of the wicked. Psalms 9-10. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. And those who know your name will trust in you. For you, Yah, have never forsaken those who seek you. We have to seek him for us to find him. So that's very important right there, to pick up on those little subtleties for those who seek you. So we must seek him. Psalms 12 verse 5 is, because of the oppression of the weak and the groaning of the needy, I will now arise, says Yah. I will protect them from those who malign them. Because of the oppression of the weak and the groaning of the needy, I will now arise, says Yah, and I will protect them from those who malign them. Pretty encouraging. Psalms 12:8 says, the wicked freely strut about when what is vile is honored among men. Think about that. The wicked freely strut about when what is vile is honored among men. That's Psalms 12:8. Psalm 17:8. Keep me as the apple of your eye. Hide me in the shadow of your wings from the wicked who assail me. Keep me as the apple of your eye and hide me in the shadow of your wings from the wicked who assail me, from my mortal enemies who surround me. It reminds me of those mama hens who protect their little babies, and you see the little babies go under them. When the mama sees danger, she clucks to them, and they all go and run under her, and she spreads her little wings out, and they all hide under her. And that verse says, keep me as the apple of your eye and hide me in the shadow of your wings from the wicked who assail me, from my mortal enemies who surround me. And the last one I have here is Psalms 18, 1 through 2. It says, I love you, Yah, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge. He is my shield and the horn of my salvation. Horn means strength, the strength of my salvation, my stronghold. So I wrote all these down because I want to start going through those every day, and I want to keep adding to them also. Those were all verses that was written down by King David, and they're all in the Psalms. So I just really love those, and I wanted to share those with y'all. Okay. Anybody have anything to say? Any discussions? How about some thumbs up? That would be nice. I will say this. I watched that debate the other night. I don't know if anyone else watched that debate between President Trump and Vice President Kamala. And I just thought that was really, I thought the moderators was really very biased. I mean, this is my opinion. I thought they were really very biased to Miss Harris. It just seemed like a 3-against-1 on that one. He has, already did a couple of debates with, well, he did one with Biden on CNN, and then he did this one with Miss Harris on ABC. I would like to see them do one on something like Fox or Newsmax or something like that, or just even anybody else. Somebody that isn't so biased anyhow. I think CNN actually did a pretty fair job on theirs. ABC just did not seem fair on with their moderators at all. I was like, who is this? Is this her children or what? Just seemed very biased to me. That's my opinion. So anyway, that's one thing we could talk about, but I don't see anybody chiming in on it, so maybe nobody really wants to talk about that. What else happened this week? We had a scare of a hurricane all of a sudden, but it did not come near us. It was totally off to the side of us. It went to the east of us. And when that happens, we don't really get very much rain or anything off of it. We're like on the dry side. We call that being on the dry side of the hurricane. And we got a little rain. It wasn't much at all. We might have got a 1/2 inch of rain, maybe. If I were to measure, I would say it wasn't much at all. We got some very light winds, hardly nothing. And the rainfall, it was more like a little tropical depression, really, because there was no sun and it was just like drizzling all day for a couple of days, which I'm glad. I mean, I didn't want to be hit by a hurricane, obviously. But anyways, so we had that happen this week also. We did some preparations, but it was no need because nothing happened. We looked over our sweet potatoes to see what they was going to be doing because where we had grew them at, a bunch of weeds had come into the patch. And when you grow sweet potatoes, we're still learning this, y'all. We're very new at it, and we've grown them for a year or two. And some of the first couple of years we did pretty good with them, but this past year we had the weeds come in at a time when we couldn't get rid of them. And once the sweet potato vines come up, there's really nothing you can spray on the weeds without killing the sweet potato vines. And our crop did very poorly. We tried to dig some and they were very small. So I think we're just going to plow the whole thing under. That's what it's looking like anyhow. And then we looked into some stuff on it about what you need to spray. There is some stuff you can spray and there's methods to spray. But what you do is you spray before you plant to get rid of a lot of the grasses that give you so much trouble, like that cocoa grass that has all those little they're like little nuts kind of all that come all in the bottom. If you pull them up, you'll see the little nuts. But the thing about pulling them up is you'll never get all of them. So you have to treat for them. They're called sedge grass, I believe. And you can get something called sedge hammer, and that's supposed to work pretty good on it. But I mean, you'll never get rid of them. You'll just have to continuously treat it. And then also is the pigweed. We get a good bit of that too. And that is a problem in the sweet potatoes, not to mention the morning glory vines, which was absolutely horrific this year. Very good year for the morning glory vines. But you can spray something right before you plant. And then after you plant, before your vines start coming on too much, you can go in and spot treat with another kind of weed killer, which next year we will be doing that because we're not going to have enough sweet potatoes to put away this year. We're going to be buying sweet potatoes this year. And there's a lot of people around here. There's a lot of farmers around us, and they grow different varieties. The Beauregard is one, and there are several other ones that grow around here, but the main one is the Beauregard. And we already got it lined up. They said they were supposed to start digging this week. The guy that Mr. E went and talked to about getting a box of them, he said they were supposed to start digging this week. Now, some areas did get more rain than we did, so I'm not sure if that's going to interfere with them being able to get in the fields or not. But one way or another, you know, hopefully we can get us a box of them. They usually, I don't know, I guess they're about $25, $30 for a big crate of them. And those will last. I mean, what I usually do is when I get them, I'll bake some of them and save some of them. And then when they start trying to sprout on me in the box, I'll gather them all up and bake them all and then freeze them. And that way I can pull them out of the freezer and use them whenever I want to. Hey, Michelle McDaniel. She says, hey, Aunt Brenda. Hey to you too. Obviously, that's my niece. I looked at some of those swamp backgrounds you had talked about, and it's kind of hard to find a swamp background. I looked on Temu. They had one. It just wasn't a really good one. And then they had one that was a shower curtain also that was a swamp scene, and it was better. But then I remembered that one of my nieces on Errol's side, she had this, her kids had taken a photograph of the whole family, and they used something on Amazon to take that photograph and put it on something like this. And they made her a blanket, I think, that was on her sofa, and it had the picture of the whole family on it. And it's a big family, y'all. But it was so beautiful. And I got to thinking about that, and I said, well, I don't know why I couldn't just take a picture of a swamp around here, a picture that I like, and use that feature in Amazon to make my own tapestry with. And I looked into it, and it's really not expensive. So I'm probably going to go to the swamp and get some pictures and, you know, just get my own made. Maybe. That's what I would like to do. Yeah, that would be cool. Michelle says that. Oh, that would be cool. It would. We had went to a swamp. I don't know. I guess back in November, December, something like that. And the swamp I'm talking about, it was dry. There was no water in it. And we went in there and we got some driftwood because we have a neighbor that does taxidermy. And, they mount those different animals they do to all kind of driftwood and stuff like that. And they had asked us about driftwood before, but we never could get in that swamp because obviously it was full of water and alligators and snakes and everything else. But when it dried up, last year we had a horrible, horrible drought last summer, and it lasted a good while. And it dried that swamp out completely, which we had never seen that before. And me and Mr. E, we went in there and got a bunch of driftwood, and I got a bunch of pictures too because I took a video of it. I had made a video on it. But I started thinking about that, and I said, well, let me find those pictures that I took. Well, I can't find them. I must have deleted them because you know how it is nowadays, everything's digital. So I didn't have any hard copies of the pictures. It was just what was saved on my camera cards. So I don't know. I'm not having much luck pulling that up. Maybe I can find them, hopefully. I don't know. But if not, I mean, the swamp's still there. It just has water in it now. It could be a little more dangerous trying to get some pictures at this point. I could wait till it gets cold though, but I just may have to do that. Wait till it gets cold. But that was a good idea. So I like it when my viewers tell me, give me little suggestions because it helps me. It gives me ideas, that maybe I wouldn't have had before. So anyways, that's that. Trying to think what else has happened. I got into some more wasp in the garden last week, but I did not get stung. It was the biggest nest that I found yet in there. And I actually had the camera on. So I got some footage of that with me running out of the garden, getting away from the wasp. I just didn't post that video yet, but I do have it edited and I'm hoping that I can upload it tonight. Michelle said, Lord. Yeah. Well, like I said, didn't get stung. So that was good. And I was kind of glad I had the camera on because I've been talking about, these encounters with these wasp nests that I've been having in there. And actually, I've been stung, I think, twice so far this summer in that garden, maybe 3 times. Yeah, because I got stung once on the leg and then twice on the hand in different places on my hand, all on different days. Thank goodness. Just one sting per day. One of them was really bad. My roommate found hornet's nests close to the ground the other day. Ooh. Did they get stung? I hope not. As hornets, I think they have a really painful sting. I'm wondering if the winter will be bad here. I don't know. Why are you saying that? Are you getting some clues to maybe it being a bad winter? I know we had a really very mild winter last year, but we had one of the hardest freezes. It only lasted a short while, but it was one of the hardest, most damaging freezes that I've seen. I don't know, in a very, very long time. I don't know if it was because it was followed by, it was, if it was because it followed that terrible drought, but we lost citrus trees and, trees that we had been through what I thought was worse freezes than that before, that the trees had made it through, but they did not make it through that freeze we had last year. But then after that freeze, it was like we hardly even had a winter after that. Okay, she says he didn't get stung this time, but the yellow jackets love him and light up every year, seems like that. Oh, and light him up every year, seems like. Oh, he is attracting yellow jackets. It must be a pheromone or something he has, huh? No, to be careful. Maybe you shouldn't go with him when he's outside. He's a landscaper. Oh, I bet he does have a lot of opportunities to get into yellow jackets and everything else. That's bad. They get into a lot of stuff. I mean, you're outside, you're digging in undisturbed areas. The wasps are just really bad this year. I never seen them so bad. A lot of the little overhangs and everything around here under the house, the little overhangs, a lot of wasps. And I even had wasps in strange places, like just out in the open, like on I had a fence out there and they would build on the fence, just out in the open. And then I had a gate to one of my sheds and they would build on the gate, and Errol knocked him down. And then another time he went out there and he got stung because they had rebuilt already. They was just like determined to build on that gate. I've seen a lot of them, different places. I even had one in my fig tree. That was weird. Just right in the open, that was under the fig tree. Then I had one under a turmeric leaf. So they just, I don't know. It was just odd. I don't usually see them like that. Well, yesterday it rained all day. And I talked to Mama and I said, boy, I said, it sure would be a good day to be in the red barn all day long. Playing chess with Dad. It was the perfect day for it. But it's I haven't played chess in years. Shad my heart. Yeah. I haven't played that in years. And I was thinking about one time we was all sitting in there, me and Donna, and I don't remember who all else was in there, but it was raining and storming, and I mean it was pouring down, and you could hear the wind and everything. And it's just a little tin building with a tin roof, y'all. And there was a cedar tree on the side of it, and that tree came down on that little barn that we was sitting in. And I just remember all of us running to the front door and trying to get out of the door all together. We was all jammed in the door like the Three Stooges trying to get out of there. And we had some damage to the barn, but it was the side of it. I think we all went back in there, but the top of it wasn't damaged. It was just the side. And then the next day when we got up, it was like the biggest flood I'd ever seen in that area. The barn even had a foot, the big barn, not the little barn we were sitting in, another barn. The big barn had a foot at least of water in it. And one of our neighbors, we called him Clearwater. He came over in a boat that day. That's how much it had flooded. It was crazy. I've never seen it flood like that in that area before. But that was years ago, y'all. That was probably 30 years ago. I'm so glad you came and visit me, Michelle. Really, really am. At least we can visit like this, huh? There's this thing called StreamYard, and you can do a split screen with it. And when you have people talking with you like this, you can share the screen with them if they want to, you know. And I need to figure that out so I can do that. I always think about it like 30 minutes before my live, and I'm looking at it trying to figure it out. It's like, no, I need to do that at a time when I have more time to actually figure it out. But I just stay busy all the time. I got up this morning, and the first thing I did was I went in the spare room, and I had another thing of wine making. So I went in there and oh, I've been watching your video, she says, and loving it. It's like visiting, and I just figured out how to comment. You see, I want to do a video on that because I don't know if you're watching on your TV or your phone or your tablet, but it's all different. The view on each way you do it is different. And if you're watching on your TV like mom does, you know, I don't think she can even see the comments on the side. Like if you're watching on the computer, like I'm on my, it's not a laptop, it's a desktop. You can see everything on the side. Michelle says, from both my TV at first, and I couldn't comment. Yeah, I don't know how you would comment from your TV, but you can see the comments on the TV if you know how to get to them. But a lot of people don't know how to get to them. So I was going to do a video on that. And also when you're watching on the TV, it's hard to get to well, it ain't hard to get to the description. It's just, it took me a long time to figure it out. I would be watching people cooking and they would say the ingredients is in the description. And the description down below, they would say. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking, I can't find it. So anyway, one day I finally figured that out too. So I wanted to do a little video on that of how to get to the description, just for people like me who hasn't figured it out yet. And also how to see those comments on a chat whenever you're on the TV. It's just different no matter what device you're on. So anyway, I got up this morning. The first thing I did was I got my bottles out and I got ready to bottle that wine up. That was my second batch, and I have enough berries. I might do a third batch just to get them out of my freezer. And wine is better as it ages, so why not go on ahead and do another batch and let it age? It just needs to be warm enough. That's my only concern. It's still pretty warm here. I mean, I got the air conditioner on right now. And then I had to cook today, so Mr. E had butchered some chickens yesterday because we had too many roosters on the yard. Way too many roosters on the yard. You can tell, hey, Divine Light, how you doing today? You can tell not only by looking that you have too many roosters, but if your hen's backs are missing some feathers, you know you have too many roosters also. So we had too many roosters, and Mr. E butchered some of them. And he put some in the freezer, and he brought some or one, I don't know. He brought some, I think, to his mom today. And then I had one. Good, same to you. Thank you, Divine Light. So I took mine that he had for me, and it was pretty young, a pretty young rooster. So it was decently tender, and I browned it, and I browned some onions and peppers and everything. And once I had all that brown, I made a little gravy with it. I added some um, water and seasoning, and I had some chicken broth also that I put in there. And I did all of that in a big black pot, like a Dutch oven, I guess you would call it. And it was smelling so good. I put the lid on it and I put it in the oven at 350, and I just let it cook in there for 2 hours. And I had cooked some rice on the side, and I had put some potatoes and carrots in the pot also. So I wouldn't have to cook any sides with it. And I didn't have to babysit it either. If I would have cooked it on top of the stove, I would have had to babysit it. I would have had to make sure the water didn't boil out and all that kind of stuff. But it came out so good. And I didn't have my air conditioners on this morning. I had my fans on and my windows open because I like to let fresh air get in the house, especially when the temperatures aren't too bad outside. Just let some oxygen into the house. You know what I'm saying? The house stays closed up all the time. But anyway, so I had the windows open and I was outside and I could smell that chicken cooking. Oh, it smelled so good. I was like, man, the dogs probably want to, dogs are probably thinking, we want some of that too. I have some pretty good dogs right now. They was upset this morning. They was barking. I didn't know what in the world they was barking at. Um, and they don't usually just bark for nothing. Some dogs do that, but these don't. So when they started barking, I figured something must be wrong. I went out there and looked, and I couldn't see anything. Couldn't figure it out. And finally, I figured out what it was. My neighbors had put some sofas out, and the garbage pickup or whatever, they had came to pick those up, because when I went to put my mail out later, I noticed that them sofas was gone, and they had been there for a few days. I said, that's what them dogs was working at. Them strange men came and picked them sofas up, and it got them upset because they don't ever see that. They see the regular garbage man come and get the garbage every week. But this is a whole different thing that the police jury sends out. It has like a big winch on the back of this huge truck, and that's what they use to pick up anybody's, furniture, big items that they throw out. And you'll have to call them and ask them, make a request to come and pick up something that you throw out like that. And they're good at picking it up too. Hey, Pudding Tang, I'm always late. So very sorry. Those new backgrounds are so beautiful. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like it. I like it too. I love it. I really just would like to do all my lives outside. But my phone only has so much time on it where I can do lives outside or on the phone, period. I could use the Wi-Fi on it, but I have a little bit of time that I purchase each month for internet, and it's really the minimum what I buy on it. So when I do anything using that, I have to reserve that time somewhat. I do them in the kitchen sometimes using my Wi-Fi, and sometimes outside, but I notice I lose connection a good bit. And outside, the mosquitoes was getting too bad, and it was getting dark on me as well. So I just started doing them in here. And I do like these. And I was going to send a lot of these back, y'all, because, I had showed y'all some of them. Folks, hit the like button. Yeah. I agree with Pudding, Michelle says. Yes, indeed. So I was going to send some of them back, y'all, because I didn't want to spend all that money on all them things. And so I went to Temu and I started filling in all the stuff to send them back, the ones I was going to send back. And I had my label printed out to send them back. I had went that far with it. And then it came time for me to put them back in those little cellophanes they came in. And each one of them little cellophanes got a barcode on them. And each barcode goes specifically to whatever backdrop came in it. And when I started reading on the return, it said, make sure you put the right thing in the right bag or it could mess up your return. So I went on the site and I started looking at the ones I ordered and trying to find out which barcode went with which backdrop. And it was nowhere to be found. I could not find it. So it has like this AI chat thing that you can talk to. And so I opened that up and I started asking them, telling them my problem. But it was like the AI couldn't understand what I was trying to tell them. Sometimes you just need like a real person to talk to understand what you're saying. And that thing could not understand me. And so it started saying, would you like to just have your refund expedited and keep the packages, just keep them? And I was like, well, and not have to do a label and all that. And I'm like, well, I already did a label. Hey, William Jarvis, thanks for the super chat. It's very nice of you. I'm glad you finally made it to one of the lives. I know you've been busy though. So it starts asking me, do I want to just keep it and be expedited on a refund? And it was like $82, y'all. It was a lot. And I wasn't going to keep all them because I didn't want to spend that much on some backdrops. I was just going to keep 3 of them. And I had these purple lights or black lights that I was going to send back too. And I also had a subscribe sign. Let me show it to y'all. I have it right here. I'm going to light it up and all that right now. But it's cracked. You can't hardly tell, but it is cracked. And I said, well, I'm sending that thing back too because it got a big old crack on it. And they are all really pretty, so it's all good if you can afford them all. Yeah, exactly. And then Michelle says they do that a lot, the refunds evidently. And William Jarvis says, so good to see you and you guys aren't blown away. I can't stay long, but wanted to say hello. All right. Well, I am so glad you did stop by and say hello, and I wish you could stay. Doggone it. And Pudding says she likes the sign. So I told him, I said, well, look, I already did the label. I mean, I had everything as much together as I could. I was just trying to make sure the stuff went in the right bags. I said, well, I already have the label. Well, they asked me again. I said, well, I'm going to be here all day trying to explain to this robot what I want. And it couldn't figure out what I was telling me. So I said, fine, just expedite it. And I didn't think they was going to refund me on everything. But sure enough, they did. They refunded the whole thing. So yeah, I got a bunch of backdrops now. I didn't intend for it to turn out like that. It totally surprised me. But I was telling somebody else about that, and they said that the shipping, because they pay the shipping for you to send it back. Somebody was telling me the shipping on it cost more for them than what it's worth. So they just do this a good bit. They'll let you keep it. I don't know. It is what it is, huh? Well, I see y'all, bunch of y'all's here. Y'all want to play some trivia? We still got 20 minutes. I just been sitting here running my mouth. Pudding Tang says, yeah. Okay. Well, and Michelle McDaniel says, sure. Okay, I mix it up, y'all. I do um Press Your Luck and some Bible trivia. So I just kind of mix it up where we get a little bit of both. All right, let's start with this one. This is a Bible trivia, guys. It says Abraham was the father of Ishmael and Isaac. Of what else is he considered the father? Yeah, Pudding Tang, you're right. And I did try to put it up here the other day. I had it. Watch. Try it. I have it right here. Why not? Because that was my intention to try to get people just because sometimes, a lot of times I'll be watching YouTube videos and I get so involved in what they talking about, I forget to subscribe. So I said, well, I'm sure I'm not the only one. So it's too low, huh? I had it on something that made it higher the other day, but it lights up and everything. Okay, I'm sorry. Y'all trying to talk to me here. Let's see what y'all saying. I like the sign. Nice. The father of the Jewish folks, Pudding Tang says. Yep, the father of the nation. Yep, that is correct. Now, I hope I don't unplug something important, y'all. Trying to turn this light on. It's bright, y'all. I think you can turn it down, though. I sure hope so. It's That is very bright, Pudding Tang says. I have to work on that, y'all, okay? I have to work on that. Okay, let's get to the next question. Joseph's brothers. Joseph's brothers were jealous of him. What did they do to Joseph? Joseph's brothers were jealous of him. What did they do to Joseph? It does. It looks good even when it's not lit up. I don't know why it needs to be that bright. And they even let me keep the ones with the bricks, that little pattern I showed y'all with the bricks. I bet you this would look good in front of that one with the bricks. Huh? I have to experiment with it. Okay. Banished him, sell him. They sold him to the Egyptians. Yes, they did. They surely did. And they threw him down in a well for a little while before those Egyptians came along and they sold him to him. Let's see what it says. Wait, they threw him in a cistern and then sold him to merchants. And then they went home and lied to their daddy and made up a big old story. Said that they had found his coat and it had blood on it, and he must have been torn by wild animals. They told a big fib, y'all. They did something bad to their little brother, and then they went home and lied to their daddy about it. That was one heck of a story, y'all. That is the when I first started reading the Bible, said, I'm gonna start in Genesis. So I started reading. It's not very long before you get to the story of Joseph. And that story just blew me away. I was so interested in that story. That's awesome. Y'all need to read that story. It's in Genesis. Anybody who hasn't read it, just read Genesis, y'all. I made some notes on Genesis the other day because it's so many people that just never read any of the Bible. It's probably not in this notebook because you would know, but I'll read it that to y'all next time. I'm getting down another rabbit hole here. I remember you reading heavy in your Bible in your teens. Yes, it was. I was in my teens. My dad was interested in the Bible. I remember many nights getting up in the middle of the night. He'd be in his recliner reading his Bible, and he and I would talk a good bit, and we would discuss that. I want to know what he was reading, and he wanted to share what he was learning also because he knew how valuable that information was, and he wanted to share that. And you just do. When you start finding out this information, you realize how valuable it is, and you want to share it with other people. Okay, let's get on to the next one. What did Pharaoh's dream about 7 fat and 7 skinny cows mean? What did Pharaoh's dream about 7 fat and 7 skinny cows mean? This also is in the book of Genesis and part of Joseph's story. Yeah, it's just so good. There would be a famine in the land, Puddin' Tang says. I'm going to give some other people a minute to chime in just in case. But yes, there was 7 fat and 7 skinny. So the Pharaoh had this dream about these. He saw this, these 7 fat and 7 skinny cows, and it disturbed him. I mean, it just really, I don't know if you ever had a dream and you wake up and you just can't let go of it. Well, evidently back then they had people that would come in and they would consult with and ask them what did they think it meant and everything. And the 7 fat cows symbolized 7 years of plenty, and the 7 skinny cows symbolized the 7 years of, not having good crops at all. So they was advised to save up during those 7 fat years so they would have something to eat during those 7 lean years. But you read it, it's you get a lot more out of it than what I'm telling you here. And Puddin' Tang is right. The famine that came in those 7 years, those skinny cows, that's what that meant. And guess who they put in charge of running that? Half, right? Joseph. Yeah, Joseph. That's right. Okay. A week or so ago, we had a card that was similar to this. It asked us how many plagues there were in Egypt. And we had several different answers, and I couldn't remember either, but the answer was 10. This question asks us to name those 10 plagues. So maybe y'all can name some of them. I know I would have a hard time naming all 10 of them just off of the top of my head. but there were 10. It was when Moses kept saying, "Let my people go, let my people go," because all of his people were slaves in Egypt at that time, and God had sent him, Moses, to go up there to the Pharaoh and say, "Let my people go," and God kept sending him up there, and Pharaoh just had a hardened heart. And finally, these 10 plagues came upon them, one after the other, not all at one time. And the last one was the doozy. That's the one when they were finally allowed to leave. Pudding says locusts, mosquito, flies, blood. Yep, that's a lot of them. So I will read them to y'all. Oh, the cat's come up here. Kiki. I hope she don't make my sign fall. Boils. Okay, Michelle says frogs, locusts, blood in the Nile, and boils. Yes, 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 and yes. Y'all pretty good. Y'all done been studying. Okay. The card says blood, frogs, gnats, flies on livestock. Pudding says yes. Been studying. Hail, locust, darkness, and on the firstborn. On that firstborn, when Pharaoh got up and his firstborn was dead and he realized it was from God, he realized he was ready then. He said, "Oh, get them out of here. Get them Israelites out of here." Kiki, now she's rubbing on the light, y'all. She might tear this whole place down. Never underestimate a cat. Okay, what is the first commandment? This would be found in Exodus 20, verse 3. I'm just keeping an eye on that cat, y'all, because my sign's cracked already. What is the first commandment? Look, now she's scratching it. Kiki! I told y'all I have to watch her. Okay, I'm sorry. It is a nice light. Even the cat knows. Lord, love the Lord God with all your might. Okay. Anybody else? That really is this, though. It says, "You shall have no other gods before me." So if you love him with all your might, there you don't have no other gods before him. That cat didn't freak me out, y'all. I didn't think she was going to try to climb that tapestry back there. All right, let's do a press your luck one, okay? Type 1 diabetes is usually caused. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all gotta chime in. I'm just guessing. You doing good for guessing. I could promise you that. Um, Type 1 diabetes is usually caused by a lack of what? Iodine, protein, or insulin. See some hearts going up there. That's awesome. Thank y'all. Insulin. Correct, Michelle. Insulin. Correct, Divine Light. I didn't know if you were still there, Divine. And Pudding Tang also says insulin, and y'all are all correct. And I hope none of y'all are suffering with that. How many prongs does a standard kitchen fork have? How many prongs does a standard kitchen fork have? 5, 4, or 3? I had to go feed the dogs. Well, good. I'm glad you're taking care of your dogs. I like that. Pudding Tang says 4, and Michelle McDaniel says 4, and Divine Light says 4, and y'all are all right. I almost said all 4 of y'all, but it's 3 of y'all. But yes, it is 4. The answer is 4. Which country has the longest coastline in the world? Michelle says I cheated. I'm eating. Oh, so that was the perfect question for you, huh? You just look down at the fork. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one. What country has the longest coastline in the world? Australia, Canada, or Russia? Australia, Canada, or Russia? Pudding Tang says Canada, and that is correct. It is Canada. I hear that cat doing something else, y'all. Let me see what she's doing. Kiki, what? Gotta keep an eye on a cat, y'all. All right, so y'all got that one. Canada has the longest coastline. That is big, y'all, because think about how huge Australia is, and the coastline goes all the way around it. Me nuisance. Yes, exactly. Me nuisance. We used to do puzzles in the bread barn. That was our little get together place. And we would do puzzles. We had a table in there. And we had a cat that would jump up on the table every time you're trying to do the puzzle. And she would lay down right there, right where you was looking at. And so we named that cat Me Nuisance. So that's where this is coming in from Michelle McDaniel. She remembers that. And yes, this is a Me Nuisance. Some of these questions, y'all, is ridiculous. Okay, you are most likely to experience a hypnic jerk just before what? Sneezing, vomiting, or falling asleep. Like I said, y'all, these questions, you are most likely to experience a hypnic jerk just before what? Sneezing, vomiting, or falling asleep. I don't know why that's so funny, vomiting, but anyway, falling asleep. Yep. I do that a good bit, so I definitely agree. It's kind of embarrassing sometimes if you fall asleep in front of somebody and you. But so y'all are right, Michelle and Pudding Tang. Okay, I'm not good with actors. Maybe y'all are. I'll try this one on y'all. Which of the following actors played James Bond in only 2 films? Pierce Bronson, Timothy Dalton, or Roger Moore? I could promise y'all I would never get this because I am terrible with any questions that have to do with actors. Which of the following actors played James Bond in only 2 films? Pierce Bronson, Timothy Dalton, or Roger Moore? Michelle says, I don't know. I don't either. Not good with that. Okay, here's a little geography. Pierce, I think. Nope. It sounds very familiar. Maybe that's the one who played most of them. I don't know. It's Timothy Dalton is the answer. So let's try geography. Y'all did good with Canada. That was Pudentang. Let's see about this one. What name is given to the stretch of water between England and France? Is it the English Sea, the English Channel, or English Straits? The stretch of water between England and France. Yep, y'all right. English Channel. Y'all sure are right. Y'all doing good with y'all's geography. English Straits. I wouldn't have known what to answer, but hey, it's the Channel. English Channel. Which of these countries does not host a Grand Slam tennis tournament? Australia, France, or Italy does not host a Grand Slam tennis tournament? Australia, France, or Italy? Italy. That's right. It's Italy. Y'all remember when I think his name was it John McIntyre? No, I know I'm not saying that right. What was that guy that would play tennis? John McEnroe. I think that was it. He would get so angry and he'd like just throw a fit out there on that tennis court. I like to watch it just to watch him, y'all. McEnroe. Yes. He would throw a fit out there. I don't know if he still plays or still throws a fit. I don't know. It would be interesting to just watch some of those on YouTube, you know. He was married to Tatum O'Neal. Okay. A little more information for us. He's in a few movies. Really? Well, I need to look that up. How old was Henry Ford when he got his driver's license? Was he 12, 56, or 16? Now, y'all think about that. He's the inventor of the car, right? I'm pretty sure he wasn't 12 when he invented it. They're asking how old was he when he got his driver's license? 12, 56, or 16? This cat acting up again, y'all. Kiki! About to pull my screen down, y'all. I'd let her out, bro. Going crazy on me. 56. Yes, yes, yes. I mean, that's just the logical answer, isn't it? 56. What are the two main ingredients of bronze? Tin and copper, copper and zinc, copper and lead. We're looking for the two main ingredients of bronze. So y'all think about that. Bronze. Kind of like that color. Copper and lead? Nope. Is it tin and copper? So it's not copper and lead. So it's either going to be tin and copper or copper and zinc. And lead and copper. No. Okay, it's tin and copper. All right, let's go back to our Bible questions, y'all, and we'll do 10 more minutes and then we'll call it quits. Where did the priests keep the stone tablets, the 10 commandments? Where did the priests keep the stone tablets, the 10 commandments? Where did they keep them? The 10 commandments. Where did the priests keep the stone tablets, the 10 commandments? The 10 commandments. Where did the priests keep the stone tablets, the 10 commandments? Where did they keep them? The 10 commandments. Where did they keep them? These don't give you choices. You just have to come up with it. Puddin' Tang says the Ark of the Covenant. Divine Light says the Ark. Yep, y'all right. Y'all right. Y'all right. Ark of the Covenant with the cherubim above. Okay. How many times each day did Daniel pray and give thanks to God? I don't know that one. How many times each day did Daniel pray and give thanks to God? Puddin' Tang says 7. I would say that's a good guess because 7 is like a number that's in the Bible a whole lot, but it's actually 3. The answer is 3. What are first fruits? What are first fruits? I would actually even argue with their answer. Puddin' Tang says the best you have. And Michelle says should be left for the Lord. The answer on the card says the first grain of fruit of the harvest dedicated to God. Yeah, I wouldn't say it would be just limited to a grain harvest. So I would actually argue with their answer. But anyway, that's what it says. Because I know, like in the beginning, when Cain and Abel, they both offered the first fruits of their what they was raising, and one was raising uh, garden harvest basically, and the other one was raising, animals. So anyway, let's just get on to the next one. Yeah, I thought it applied to an array. Yeah, me too. Yep. What word in the New Testament means good news? What word in the New Testament means good news? People will say, we're commanded to go out and spread the good news. Spread the, it starts with a G. Give y'all a little hint. Starts with a G and it's one word. The good news. Spread the good news. Spread the gospel. Yes, that is it. That's the word I was looking for. Divine Light doesn't study New Testament. Okay. All right, Divine Light. Let's see. Here's one from the Old Testament. Where can you find the creation story in the Bible? The creation story in the Bible. Where is that found? I would say it's in the beginning. Genesis, the first book in the Bible, in the Old Testament. Correct. first chapter of Genesis. Okay. Right on, brother. Okay, wait, we had that one last week. How many tribes of Israel were there? How many tribes of Israel were there? Okay, yeah, all three got it right. The 12 tribes of Israel. Guess y'all know the father of those 12 tribes and his name? That's not on a card, just like, you know, ad-libbing here, going off, making my own chord. Yeah, the 12 tribes or Israel. Jacob is referred to as Israel. Yes, it is Jacob. That is correct. Okay. Okay. I guess you could, you see, that's why I wrote some of those notes down because it goes Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then the 12 tribes was born to Jacob. He would be like the father of those 12 children. Although Abraham, some would say, was the father of the nation. So, yeah, y'all all right. Who shut the door to the ark, God or Noah? Who shut the door to the ark, God or Noah? Yeah, I mean, just imagine how big this big old ark was and has this big old, I'm like, imagine like a draw gate on it, and all these, it's huge. It's got to be so heavy. I don't know if he even could have closed it if he wanted to, Noah. But the scripture says that God closed it. So just imagine all those people that were outside and they had all this opportunity and time to come into the ark because it took him years and years to build it and it had never rained on the earth. And they're like, why is this man building this boat? I don't know if they even had seen a boat before. I mean, I don't know. I guess they had, but they're like, why is he building this boat in the middle of this dry land? I'm sure he had opportunity to tell them, they had opportunity to find out, and yet none of them, anyway. Once that gate, once that gate was closed, though, that door was closed, nobody could, there was no way to get into it after that. God told Adam and Eve they could eat fruit in the Garden of Eden from every tree except which tree? And this is my last question, y'all. It's after 7 now. I know. This is my last question, Pudding. God told Adam and Eve they could eat fruit in the Garden of Eden from every tree except which tree? The tree of knowledge. There was two trees in the middle. There's two trees, y'all. Please, y'all, go back and look at this. There is two trees put in the center of the Garden of Eden, and one of them is the tree of life, and the other one is the tree of knowledge. They were not supposed to eat of the tree of knowledge. And once they had eaten of it, they was banished out of the Garden of Eden, and they were not allowed back to the tree of life because they couldn't be allowed to live in that state of sin like they were in forever. If they would eat of that tree of life, they would have lived forever. He said, I can't let them eat of that and live forever like that. But with Yeshua, we are able to get back to that tree of life and have an eternal life, with our Creator. So y'all, please go back and look at that, because I went back and looked at that just a week or two ago, and it's pretty amazing. And that tree of life is mentioned again in Revelation. Okay, y'all. I sure enjoyed the visit. I enjoyed the trivia and the whole 9 yards. I hope y'all have a good, blessed, safe time. Until next time, I'll meet y'all back here on Monday evening if I'm alive and able to. And I just want to thank y'all all for the thumbs up and the kind words. Yep. Michelle says, till next time. And Pudding says, so thankful that Francine didn't hurt y'all. Yes, I am too. I am too. Thank you. Thank you for thinking of us. Thank you all for the prayers. I appreciate it. And y'all on my prayer list too. I think about y'all. I sure do. I think about y'all and I pray for y'all. All right. Love y'all. See y'all on the next one. Bye now.